went through, like, I remember acting was kind of good to me. I was, working, making money as
Which
an actor.
one do you like more, if I have to?
Stand up by far.
Yeah.
I've never been on a set where I didn't want it to be over. I said it out loud, but it's true. Like, I love acting, but there's nothing like stand up, man. There's nothing like stand up. But I remember I was doing a TV show. I was doing a sitcom. It was a big sitcom at the time. And I was making a lot of money. And the director was a huge TV director. He's a good friend of mine now. And then he did this Martin Lawrence movie. So he's on one of the biggest, he was directing like 2 of the biggest pilots. And he had this huge Martin Lawrence vehicle when Martin Lawrence was huge. And he looked at his BlackBerry. And I go, what's the matter? He goes, movie's not trending well. And I went, oh man, you're making millions of dollars and you're dependent on your movie trending well. You're dependent on a bunch of factors that you have no control over. And if it doesn't do well, you're out. You go into movie jail. They'll put you in movie jail. If your movie doesn't do well,
purgatory.
They go, yeah, you can't. We're not gonna. Sorry, man. We're not. You're not a director right now for us. Yeah.
And what year is this? What is it?
2001.
Oh fuck.
That's how Hollywood works. Still, if you get a hit, you're the great. If your movie bombs, they're like, no, we're not gonna.
They shelve you.
You just get shelved. You get shelved, and that's the deal. And I thought to myself, if I don't start doing more stand-up, I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to be that broke actor.
You looked at it as a fucking plan B escape.
Hell yeah. And then I watched Rogan doing podcasts. I got together with Chris D'Elia and with Will Sasso, 2 of the funniest people on the planet.
Yeah.
And we did 10-minute podcast. That was Will Sasso's idea. He goes, let's do a 10-minute podcast. I was like, damn. And that developed a cult following we didn't even know we had. We had no idea. I would do Rogan's podcast. I didn't know how big it was. I did it 50 times. I was like, I don't know. We're doing it in his garage. Whereas he had a small room in his house for a while, not his garage. And then we were doing it in his studio, but we didn't know. Nobody knew how big it was. But the message boards and things, then I because I realized I was like, I don't want to be dependent on acting, and I don't even want to be dependent on stand-up because I got to sell tickets, and it was before podcasts. So you had to rely on the media. So you'd have to wake up really early and do media.
I did radio the other day. I loved it.
Yeah, it's great. But back in the day, that's how you sold tickets. But still, you were still dependent on that shit. Nobody was making money, bro, in stand-up.
Back then?
Like, if you made 10 grand, that was a lot. It's still a lot, but I'm saying, like, there was no such thing as a comic that was selling out arenas or like making a few people.
Who's the first one you remember that got like the arena act and you saw him, you're like,
fuck,
this
Rogan,
is what comedy could be.
I remember Rogan said, this MySpace stuff is crazy. I got lines around the box. I just posted about it. Then I watched Dane Cook go through the whole thing.
That's what I thought that was going to be it. Dane Cook is the area when it started.
Well, Dane
can do that.
figured out that, like, he started answering emails and he was like, if I start gathering emails,
that's brilliant, an email list.
That's what he did. That's what Kevin Hart did because he followed Dane Cook. So, but Rogan was the first with the podcast.
Yeah.
The one thing about Rogan is that he's consistent. Like, if he starts something, he's gonna he holds himself to the highest standard. So he's got very good instincts for
Dude, his vision is great.
Well, it's just about focusing on one thing. I was always doing 1,000 things. He'd be like, dude, come on, man, focus on this one thing, right? But I watched, but I see, it's all about jumping from lily pad to lily pad. I can't rely on acting. I watched too many famous people that I knew. Household names have to sell their house because they couldn't. It dries up, bro.
Wow. It
dries up. Jay Leno said that. You got maybe 8 years when you're first in the chair, and then you're last in the chair, bro. And there are no exceptions. No exceptions. You might have a revival 20 years from then, but overall, if you're going to put your eggs in the acting basket, I can't tell you. I cannot tell you how many people you would know who had to sell their house, who didn't have 10 grand in the bank, and I'm not joking. And I watched that, and I was like, oh, I got to start doing stand-up. And then I watched that, and I go, I got to start doing podcasts because podcasts will feed the stand-up.
I think podcasts essentially is a comic's 401k, if you think about it.
Well, Fighter and the Kid was number 4 in the world
I know.
in for a long time in sports. but it was before anybody, my agent who had me doing, I was starring on a sitcom. I was making more on my podcast. He couldn't believe it. He goes, "What is a podcast?" It's my agent. "What is a podcast?" I was like, "We get sponsorship." He goes, "You do?" So again, it was a privilege to kind of be part of that Comedy Store renaissance. When I would walk in a room on a Tuesday, okay, I'd walk into the Comedy Store and it was comedy chaos. It was Sam Tripoli would put on a show, and let me tell you who's in the green room: Anthony Jeselnik, Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, Sebastian Maniscalco, Theo Vaughn, Chris D'Elia, Joey Diaz, Norm Macdonald would pop in, Cat Williams would pop in.
Jesus
that was
Christ.
for $24, ladies and gentlemen.
God damn.
What year was that?
$24. Oh, I don't know, 2015 to 20. And then I'm with Rogan in the bar in the back of the Comedy Store when COVID hit. And I remember Rogan said, because I think he'd been talking to Dana White, he said to me and one other guy, he goes, "Hey, you want to hear something crazy? Dana told Trump, I think Dana said it, or maybe Trump, they're talking about shutting down the country for a week." And we were like, "No way." And he goes, "Yeah, a week." And that, of course, turned into forever. But it's just fun to be part of these huge eras. That's what happens when you're 59, bro. A year away from 60. You should see me with my pants off.
Wait, you got a foot of dick? What are we talking? Foot of dick.
I'm working with a piece.
Foot of dick.
We know this.
So you never crossed over the porn, the adult act? Because I've been doing it a lot on this podcast, and I quit.
So Bryan Callen went on the Drunk Uncle podcast. I think it got an amazing 3,000 views. And went off just about how his career is dead now and how it used to be so good. They talk about the magical time, TV shows, stand-up, podcasting. It's all still technically there, I guess, but it has completely tanked. Speaking of tanked, I think Callen got drunk off of Coronas. And look how many are over here. Callen got drunk, decided to go off. Him just detailing everything now about how he was making more money off of the podcast than he was even on a TV show. What was he talking about? The Goldbergs? And that's the thing now about, so the Fighter and the Kid is basically dead and they've ended up in a storage unit to shoot the podcast. But that podcast has been dead for a while, but they made so much money that they've been able to live off of that money. But it's a classic thing. They've upped their lifestyles extravagantly. But there comes a point in time to where you can make all the money in the world, but if you live that lifestyle, only so long can more money go out than comes in. And a lot less money has been coming in. I mean, Callen makes $25,000 a month on the Fighter and the Kid podcast. Sounds like a lot of money. However, he has to pay $20,000 a month in alimony. He has a new wife. He has just had new kids. He has to pay for college and all this type of stuff because he has older kids. Like, for a while now, more money has been going out than coming in. And it's the lifestyle in general. I mean, this sounds like a great lifestyle, but like in your early 20s, maybe even 30s, I mean, Callen probably hates it at like 60, having to drag himself to the airport every weekend and get on a plane. That's the trade-off. You can make a lot of money, but that traveling probably becomes hell after a while. And now his career is completely dead and over. His last special bombed. It tanked. And now he's stuck doing a podcast with a redact in a storage unit. Well, Sucks to be you, Callen. But let me know your thoughts in the comments.